Okay, so we're doing a little bit of review for the final. And this is our last day of reviewing for the final. This one, everybody thinks that that's so easy, that just take out the 2, but then oftentimes they get wrong. What's left?
X squared.
X squared is the correct way to start. Plus 3x or just 3? 3x, and then plus 4. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Awesome. All right, now, if I made one little tweak, and I'm cheating, I'm changing the question now. I'm making this a minus. Then you'd be able to factor it again. Because now you'd have 2 sets of parentheses like this, and you could actually do it. See if you can do it. This is the harder kind that isn't just 2 simple, super simple numbers. One of them's got a negative. That's the only thing that makes it complicated. I changed it because then now I can factor it. The other one actually wasn't factorable. It was already the 2 factored out, but you couldn't factor it further. So I changed it so that it would factor further. All right, Mr. TW, I know you know something. How do I start this kind? All right. And now, tell me something else you know has to be true.
Plus, minus.
There has to be a plus and a minus. Interesting. If that were true, if you had a plus and a minus, then this would have to be a negative number, and it's not, so that didn't work.
Plus, plus.
Yes? You think it's a negative and a negative? No, I agree with... Okay, so let me just help you understand what he just said. Negative 4, and do you want it to be negative 1 or positive 1? All right. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking outside and inside need to add up to this, and that's really good, but this is impossible. Do you get why his answer doesn't work?
I get that. Yeah, it doesn't work.
That times that makes what?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Is it supposed to be negative 4?
No.
No. All right. What is it called when it can't actually factor? It's not called no solution.
3 dots.
Nope, that means therefore. 3 dots means therefore. Nope. If it can't factor, it's called a prime. It's just a prime. Prime. It is not the prime meridian. That's a whole different thing. It's not the equator either. It's not Amazon Prime, no. All right. So let's see if you could do a different kind that is on the final. So that was a brief talk about factoring. This is the kind where you got to be able to use a giant formula and find the solution. This one does not factor. It doesn't, because you got 4. Let me make sure that's right. 4 and 2. Oh my gosh, that actually will factor. What are the odds? Okay, but even if you can factor it, you can always use the quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, quadratic formula, they're kind of the same thing. So then, what is that? X equals?
Negative b plus minus.
Finish it. Don't say it. Write it down. Just write it down. You need to write it down to make sure you actually know this thing, because it is on the final. You don't know this formula, you're stuck on another problem.
How many comes?
Write this down. The final is worth 10% of your grade. 10% is not nothing. 10% is going to move your grade. It's just going to either move it up or it's going to move it down. Well, again, if you get the same grade on your final as you have normally, then it wouldn't affect you. But otherwise, like I said, unless you happen to score exactly the same thing as what your average is, it'll either move you up or it'll move you down. Now, you're right in that it won't totally change. It won't take your B and turn it into a straight A. And it won't take your A and drop it all the way to a C or anything. I mean, that doesn't happen with the final. But the final will move your grade. So you just want to make sure you try to do well enough so it doesn't move your grade down. Hopefully it moves your grade up a little bit. Yes. All right. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Awesome. Okay. I feel like you already got me to sing it way too many times on video. This part tells you the something. Do you remember what? That's the vertex. That tells you the vertex. Negative b over 2a. Just that part. X equals negative b over 2a. Just that part tells you the vertex. I'd like you to see if you can do that. Let's make it -1. Just figure out, use that formula to tell me the vertex of this thing. You can't factor it. Just find me the vertex. Negative b over 2a. I'll pause where you give that. All right, so help me understand. There's a negative involved, yes, but what do you mean by that?
Give it away. Oh, I got it.
I'm not sure I'm understanding you. How about this? What should I put in for b?
-6. Oh.
I should put in a 6 there, and that makes it -6. Good. And then I'm not putting in a -6 because it was a positive. And then I'm going to replace the a with a 1. Very good. Notice this is not 21, it's 2 times 1. And hopefully you had -6 divided by 2, which would be -3.
Yeah, I got -3. What you talking about?
Now that's not the vertex, though.
We gotta plug it in.
Yes, that's the x of the vertex. Everybody figure out what the other part is. It's -3 comma something. I'll pause while you try that. Okay, so
I got it.
-3 goes back in. I hope you knew where to put it. It's up in here. And you should have got, that's 9, not 6. It's 9.
+8.
And that's a -18 minus 1. That makes -9 minus the 1, -10. Raise your hand if you had -10.
Yep.
Good. That's quite a few of you. All right. So I would say that the main thing that we needed to study for today is the main stuff that wasn't on your last test. Because your last test, that cumulative test that I'm going to give you back in a minute, that covered a lot of stuff. And overall, you did pretty well. I was impressed. There was lots of B's. I was impressed. It depends on the person. I'm not going to say that the whole class. There's a few of you that are ready for geometry. We'll be judging by that final also, this final you're about to take. All right, so one of the things that was on there was stats. If I give you these 5 numbers, you should be able to find me using a calculator. I'll pause while we get those out. A mean, median, mode, and range. I will pause while you give that a try. Okay, so one of the students said correctly that mean just means you add them all up and then divide by how many there are. That's pretty much what we're doing. KM, what did you get on that one? 11.5. Can anybody verify that they got 11.5? Uh-oh. 11.4? And then you just rounded it or something? How about it? We go with 11.4. Then I got more people agreeing. Is that what you got? All right. Did you not get 11.4? Try it. Try adding them all up, dividing by how many there are. Now the median. The median all got a simple one-name thing. And if I were you and I was taking notes, I would put next to mean, that means the average. And if I was taking notes, and again, notes just help you to remember it, because it activates a different part of your brain. So the median is the middle. And which one's in the middle? It's not that one and not that one. Those are on the ends, right? And it's not that one, it's not that one, and then you just find the one that's in the middle. It is 12. The mode is the one that happens the most, which is 12 again. All right, 20 minus 5, so that one is 15. Very good. Okay, so there's a little bit of the stats section. What was also in stats that's harder is probabilities. Well, when you do easy ones like flipping a coin, they are easy. Like, you know, what's probability that, you know, I flip a coin and I get what I want. Well, that's 1 out of 2. Okay, but of course, they're not going to be that easy. I'm going to make one with marbles to show you an example of a typical one. Say there's 3 marbles that are black in here and 2 that are red. And then I got, I don't have a white marker because it doesn't show up very well. And then I got 4 that are blue. Now, imagine for a moment that I were to reach in here and grab a marble. Obviously, it's possible that I could get a red one, but it's not that likely, right?
Right.
So I'd like you to write down the fraction probability that I would get a red one. They'll get more hard from here. I'll pause for a second while we give that a shot. It will get harder from here, I mean. Okay, here we go. You should have said that there were 2 red ones in there, but you can't just say 2. That's not a probability. 2 over 3, 6, 9 possible. 2 ninths. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Now, here's where they get more challenging. If I said, I'm going to pull out one marble that's red, and then I want to know what's the chances that I get a black one. Well, that's called dependent. It depends on what I got the first one. This one was a red marble. So now do you get, when I do my next fraction and I multiply it, that fraction has to be not out of 9 anymore because I took one of the marbles out? So now figure out, if I want to know, if I'm going to take, what did I say, blue one or a black one? Black one. All right, I think it was black, I'm not sure. So I'd like you to figure out, what's the probability that I take out a red one, and then I don't replace it, and I go back in and take out a black one? I'm going to pause while you give that one a try. All right, so here's another topic. It's called absolute value. Give that one a try. It's already divided up into it's 2 equations, the little mini bite-sized equations you need to solve. They only have 1 step from there. Let's see if you we're doing it right. You add 3 to both sides. You got n equals 15. You add 3 here, and it's not 15.
N equals -9.
Negative 9. Very good. Raise your hand if you had 15 and negative 9. All right, good. That's absolute values. And this kind is, I'd say, probably maybe the hardest one, and the last one we're going to talk about. And that is, how do you graph that? And how do you graph that? Well, all you have to do, if you can graph points, like if I said, can you graph this point, 2, 7, I know you can graph points. So all you got to do is find a bunch of points. So how do you find a bunch of points? Well, you stick in anything you want. Believe me, when you get to pre-calc, if you do this same stuff in pre-calc, it's way harder because it's a lot harder to get the numbers. You can pick anything you want. You pick 0, and then what's another easy number? 1, and then maybe 2. Those are 3 easy numbers, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to see if you can finish off and like, okay, well, what if you put in 0? What do you get? What if you put in 1? What do you get? And what if you put in 2? What do you get? That was one of the ones off our basic 20. Most of you guys had it figured out. See if you can remember it. Try to find those 3 points. All right, just to make sure you're on the right track, you're sticking in 0 here. Do you get that these 2 parts are all 0, and then y equals 3? See? 3. And then, if you stick in a 1, I'm going to delete out my work there. I'll put in a 1 here. Then I get the next thing. So if I put in a 1, I'm going to get 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 3 plus 1 is 6. That's right.
666.
And the last one, put in a 2. The 2 goes in here, 2 goes in here. That's 4. That's 4. That makes 8.
Well,
8 plus 3,
is 11.
3 is
11. And then all you'd have to do is graph 0, 3, 1, 6, and 2, 11. 0, 3 means over 0, up 3, so I'll put a dot like about there. Over 1, up 6, so it's a dot like there. Over 2, up 11, it's a dot like way up there. It's curving like this. Do you recognize a parabola when you see one? Makes kind of a U shape. That's what these squared things make, is a parabola. So if I had this, that's a parabola, except it's shifted up 6. So it looks like this. It's a parabola like this, except it's up 6. So it goes like that. That's what they look like. So if I were you, I'd always make a chart, though, because we practiced that. That's why it was on the top 20 or the basic 20. X, Y. What are 3 nice numbers to put in?
5, 1.
0, 1, and maybe even 2. Or you could put in -1 if you wanted to be creative. All right. I'd like you to try this one. Try to find the 3 points that go into this one. And that's the last of our last topic. All right. When you put in the 0, that was 0 squared. 0 plus 6 is 6. Everybody knew that. Now I put in a 1. And 1 squared makes 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. And then people just assumed it'd be 6, 7, 8, but no. The last one, when you put the 2 in here, 2 squared becomes 4. 4 plus 6. 4 plus 6 is 10. There you go. Those 3 points get graphed. You'll start seeing where the curve is. From there, it's pretty easy. All right. So there's a quick review of the main things that I think we haven't talked about that you need to know for the final. And now, what I'd like you to do until the end of the hour is, I'm going to give those back. Take out this thing. This is the practice for the final. You need to hand this in on the day of the final. This is your review packet. And I'm going to pause while we get those out. Okay, so some students have asked me to reiterate which ones off the packet that I think would be the best to do. Here are the ones that I have officially assigned them. Problem number 1. Problem number 4. Problem number 7. Problem number 13. Problem 21. Problem 24, 25, and 26. Problem 33. Problem 39. 44. 45. 49. 50. 56. 62. 70. 76. 83. 85. And I cannot explain why it says 68 next. But it's the very last, yeah, there's a couple typos at the very end there. Problem 68 is the second to last question. All right. There's a good smattering of problems. Of course, you can do more than that, but that would be a pretty good set to do for practice if you didn't have that much time. If you did more of them, that's wonderful. It'll help you get better score. All right. That's all I got for you for today.